Welcome, family. Welcome, people out there. I'm your host, Osirius. This is your co-host.
My name is Shadarius.
And this is the HOODHARTHA Podcast. And today we are here to discuss what is HOODHARTHA. That's what a lot of people ask me. And I came to realize that HOODHARTHA is actually a school of thought I developed in which those of us from disenfranchised environments connect with the all, because we might feel like we're disconnected or something's wrong with us, or that we might have to change who we are, when in fact, in most cases, you really have, it's really more beneficial to get more in tune with yourself and invoke that transcendental spirit that's waiting to be realized and acknowledged. So that's what HOODHARTHA is. It's a school of thought in which we're welcoming people into this new wave of information and self-realization, and we're still learning ourselves, you know.
Right, self-love.
Yeah, self-love.
That's
yeah.
the first and
That's a good way to put it.
thing,
Yeah. And we wanted to definitely emphasize the point that we're not experts of any asset or
philosophy
facet.
or anything like that, yeah.
We're students of life and servants of love, warriors for peace. And we just came to realize some real important facts going on in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really reactionary news. A lot of stations and channels I see, it's kind of based on what's, current events and what's going on out there, and little small minute episodes that pop off to distract the people. But we're more of a think tank that develops topics to discuss that we feel like needs to be discussed.
Yeah, necessary topics.
Yeah, that people, I think, want to speak about, but don't have a voice necessarily for.
A platform to be heard on, yeah.
Or, sometimes even the courage to come out.
To speak, yeah.
So.
I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. We're all growing together. This is what this is about, is just opening the doors and ushering in, those of us who want to learn,
right.
More about the larger picture, the bigger picture,
Right.
And as far as one thing we notice is, or just one interesting fact is that they said that just recently no religion actually topped the decision as far as people's denomination recently in the polls. People chose no religion over Christianity and Catholicism. Mm-hmm. It actually won by 0.1%.
So people are basically
it looks like people are leaving,
to deal with religion.
Overall. A lot of people are leaving the traditional.
So it's like atheism, a form of atheism.
Right. And people are, a lot of majority of the people are moving into more free thinking.
Yeah, a new way of life.
I think that it's more because of the information age that's coming into play.
Right.
So much information.
Yeah, I think that information is so profound, and I don't think people really have a choice. I feel like we're going into a new age overall, and people are just waking up with these new ideas, and they want answers.
Right, and they see so much going on in the world.
Right.
That's contradicting, a lot of the framework that's been put into play.
Right, what we grew up on, and it's just like, this is not fulfilling anymore. People are looking to be liberated.
Yeah,
more
that's
free.
That's a great way to put it.
Liberated. They're looking for liberation, and I'm thinking that people are realizing that the power is within.
But yeah, and that's what today's episode is going into. the power of the mind and how the universe is mental, right?
Yes. Yes. The mind is all, and the universe is mental.
Yeah, the universe is mental, and one thing you had came up with was that you asked me, what does that mean?
Yeah,
the universe
what does
is
that
mental?
mean that the universe is mental? And
one thing you came up with was that the universe is everything that can be anything.
Yes.
That was real creative. That was original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that can be anything.
You a genius.
I'm serious because, we have to put a title or a picture or a grasp on something as human beings. We have to be able to understand it for us to believe it. And I feel like we're dealing with more or less seeing it. Like we're manifesting our own thoughts. And we're not realizing that. So we're basically used to, I feel like we're used to looking for an answer from someone else to be responsible for our own actions.
That's deep.
Yeah,
I agree.
A lot of times I hear people, they like to use God for everything, an excuse, when it's mainly them that's the orchestrator of their own destruction, period. They make their own decisions. God has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, definitely self-accountability and integrity. That's a big thing too.
Right.
That's one thing I learned when I was young. And this new way of thinking, not even new because nothing's new under the sun.
Right, nothing is new under the sun.
It's just being reintroduced.
Yeah.
Because of the whole cycles that take place in
everything has its time.
In this solar system.
There's a new time coming. The old world is passing and the new world is upon us. Yeah. And I think people are trying to get with the program. Wow. I'm seeing it. It's crazy. This new age movement. Like I'm seeing it.
And what is the new age movement?
What is that? What is the new age movement? I think it's spirituality.
New age, I think that comes from more of a modern
way of.
That's a modern coin on things.
A modern way. I feel like it's
a modern spin on ancient practices.
Spirituality. That's how I feel. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it is because I'm hearing a lot about meditation and yoga and all these different ancient techniques. You know, that's always been there. And I feel like was at one time frowned upon or looked at as being evil.
In this Western world or
right.
in the New World.
This, whatever, witchcraft or whatever they call it. So, yeah. I'm open to it. I've came to realize that it's much more than what people think. To life, like it's way bigger than that. Like HOODHARTHA, you're the author, so it's up to you.
Yeah. One thing that kind of caught people's eye recently was Nipsey Hussle.
Oh yeah.
His memorial that took place recently, last week.
Yeah, his mother in the speech she gave.
Yeah, how she acknowledged her ancestors and she poured libations
and she said
she spoke some wise words.
She said that we don't have to look to the sky for God. God is within.
Yeah,
we are divinity within. That's what she said, and I truly believe that. She also said that. Nipsey wasn't gone because death doesn't exist, and it doesn't, energy doesn't die. It never dies. So, and I truly believe that. I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I truly believe that.
That's what ancestral worship is about. Not forgetting, those that came before us. Because once we forget their name or forget their songs, then
they disappear. It's almost like they never existed.
Yeah.
So I think he would have been proud.
Definitely.
Oh,
And, yeah, I kind of went back and forth with some people on YouTube about it. You know, I was defending her.
Oh, gosh.
You know, because I was, you know, she poured libations, which is an ancient practice.
Yes,
you know,
ancient practice.
And it's not, you know, it's not a big deal like
that.
that.
I think people need to be more open-minded and not so close-minded, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more than one way to look at something, you know. You don't have to just be one way. And we're dealing with that a lot. People want to be combative, you know. If you don't believe in their way, then you're wrong. And you guys could be, you know, very aware, talking about the same thing and just in a different way. That's how I look at it.
Exactly. That's one thing that does happen often, because a lot of these ways of thought come from the same foundation, which is when I do my studies, is the Nile Valley, Ethiopia, Egypt, which is Kemet.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a lot of people talking about the same thing, just in different perspectives.
Ways, yeah.
Different titles, different names of the same people and places and things.
I discovered that on my journey, yeah. I was very curious on religion itself and just how to have a way of life. And I wanted to research and find out, you know, what was different from the other practices. And I felt like it was the same thing, just in a different way. They had very similar stories. All stories kind of, you know, go with each other. So I didn't see any difference.
Yeah, I mean, it was simple for me. It was like, you know, they all are preaching unity.
Right.
And that's what we are generally searching for, the unity and the love, you know, the one love, the one mind that we all share. And that's where the power of the mind ties into it, that we all share one mind, essentially, you know. And when we tap into that,
it is a collective consciousness, for sure.
Definitely, you know, it's we all feel it. You know, we all feel the climate, what's going on. We all feel the changes.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we speaking about. You know. So yeah, we just we gotta talk about it to be about it and understand it. You know, so that's what we doing.
Okay, so.
And one thing that some of these new age practitioners speak up on is this Akashic records.
Oh.
And that's supposed to be a field, like a informational field.
A holographic
a conscious
library.
Yeah, like a consciousness hologram.
Book of life.
Yeah, like like a book of life that can be tapped into under certain meditational practices. And what they say, you can see past, present, and future, because all time is one.
Yeah, time is an illusion. I read somewhere where time wasn't real.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
in a way,
because time is a perception.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way we see time is not the way plants see time, or, you know, another being might see time, or even our ancestors saw time. Mm-hmm. And I think they saw it more as being in the now. And they realized that nothing, like you say, energy doesn't die. So past, present, and future exists.
No, it's
all
happening
at
once.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something.
So when the Bible speaks on the book of life, or, you know, Kemet might talk about the Hall of Records, you know, the Hall of Amenta, it's essentially where this, you know, Akashic Records idea comes from. Yeah. And Akasha, what is a Sanskrit word, they say, meaning sky or space or the ether. Okay. Because that's where this Akashic exists, and all around us, and all around in the ether. It's all around us, recording every thought that ever existed, every action, every memory that ever took place. So It's interesting.
It is.
And one way that some of these people tap into it, from what I've been getting into and just my experiences, because I honestly, I've been, going on a deep journey since, 2006. And one way I had got into it was just studying, just being curious. And one day I kind of asked myself, a lot of people that know me, they might know this story, my close brethren. I was asking myself, how come when you learn a word that you never seen before or heard before, and you start using it, everybody using it that next day? Or one of your friends might get a car, and you never really pay attention to the car, but you start seeing that car everywhere.
Right.
Different colors, but it's that car.
Yeah.
And I was asking myself, was that car always there, or are you making that car appear?
Yeah, in your reality.
And I said, I'm gonna test it out. I went and got a dictionary, and I said, I'm gonna find some words I don't know that I've never seen before. I had 3 criteria. It had to be a word I never seen before. It had to be a word I liked, and it had to be a word I knew nobody was gonna use. So I even went in the X section, because I knew ain't nobody using no X words, And I found this word xenophobia, which is the fear of foreign things. And then I found this other word, which was a French word in the English dictionary. That's why it caught my eye, because I'm like, why is this French word in the English dictionary? It was paper mache. And it's basically like another way of saying origami. And it's anything you make out of paper. Paper airplane, paper, whatever you could think of. And so paper art. And I'm like, yeah, paper mache art. I grabbed that word. And I grabbed a few other words. But I said, if I see any of these words in my reality anytime soon, then something's going on. We live in some type of matrix, So that same night, I come home. I'm not even thinking about this experiment. And I'm just tired from whatever I'm doing. My family watching a movie. I sit there and start watching it with them. And the movie is about this man whose son, his little baby boy got caught up in a drive-by in a gunfight that these 2 dudes were having. The little boy got killed, and the son's father went to jail on purpose to find the killer. And I know the movie's called Doing Hard Time. But before he went to jail, he learned how to make a paper mache gun so he could use it in jail. And when I was sitting there watching this movie, I wasn't thinking nothing about the experiment I was doing earlier, and just paper mache popped up on the screen, and it just blew my mind. And from that day on, I knew that you can definitely create certain aspects of your reality. You can manifest certain desires or certain revelations or just ideas, And it was a very huge eye-opener. It was like the universe was just saying, yeah, we're alive. Of course. What else would it be? What else would it be besides what you know and what you think and what you feel and what you emanate and vibrate every day?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. I think people are not aware of that. It's like you have to come into awareness of that's what you're doing with your mind every day. Or else you'll never know. It's just like you're in the twilight zone or whatever. Until you understand that's what you're doing, you'll never know.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a level of it. I feel like it's a level of vibration. Once you reach a certain level, you come into a certain understanding. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it happens backwards. Like for me, I knew nothing about, the laws of nature or power of manifestation or law of attraction or whatever you want to call it. I didn't know anything about that. It was oblivious to me. Basically, one story of mine is how I met my father. I was I didn't grow up with him, and I always wanted to meet him, and I would just pray or just look for anything that I could on him or the name that I thought was his. And it turned out that wasn't his name, and I just didn't have a lead on him at all. So I would just pray. I would pray and just believe one day, I'll meet him. So as I got older, I was like 18, and I had totally abandoned the prayer of meeting him. And it was weird. So I just walked through the door, and my mom was like, I ran into someone who said they knew your dad, and they said give them a call. So I was like, really? So I was like, okay. So I sat down on my bed, and I was like, this is happening now, and maybe I should just give him a call. So I did. And they passed me along to another friend who lived here in California because I was in the South at the time. And she went through another phone. Like, so it was all these different phones, and she called them. And that's how we met. Yeah. Through word of mouth, through people that just crossed paths at an odd time. And that was so weird to me because I was like, wow, like, I didn't know how to explain that. I just didn't know how to explain it. And then years later, I'm here, living here, and met him and lived with him for about 3 years and got to know my family, and I'm still here. So it's exciting.
It's that serendipity.
That's exciting. So I've became a believer like that. It was, everything just started falling in my lap in his living room, actually. I started reading about The Secret and the Law of Attraction. And,
that's dang.
And I was just like, wow, all of this. And then I understood what was going on, what was happening to me, what I was doing with my power. And it happened for me. So I feel like anything is possible. Anything is possible. Like, I didn't have no leads, no information, just word of mouth. So I feel like anything is possible. That's almost like winning a lotto. I'm going to win $1 million today. And I believe it.
And did you ever think you'll come to California?
I never knew I was going to come. I felt like I was once I got older, once I could afford to travel, whatever. And I actually came here with no funds, no money. I was broke. Somebody paid for me to come. I was pregnant, actually. A flight here. My auntie actually paid for me to come. So it happened for me, even if I couldn't pay for it, but it still happened. So anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so there it is. The power of the mind in small increments. Yeah. From then on, I just started using the power of the mind. I was a little nervous at first because I didn't want to abuse it. Right. I thought maybe it was something you just tap into in emergencies.
Right. Which is, what? I feel like that's how we live our life, We just go day to day. But that's something we have to sit inside of and learn how to navigate through life. And, we have to understand that power and control it because it's always going no matter what. It's always happening no matter what.
That's what I had to realize, that it's infinite. You could tap into it anytime. That's why, a lot of other cultures might pray 5 times a day.
Right.
They know you can always access.
You have to stay focused. You can't let your mind wander. When your mind begins to wander, then your manifestation begins to wander as well because it's constantly going. Bad, good, it doesn't matter. It's going to manifest it. Yeah. You have the power. You have to understand that you have the power. So when you say, "Oh, my life, I have bad luck," or "My life is so bad," or all these different sayings, and if you say it, then it is what it is. You have to understand it. And I feel like that's
what
magic.
What else could it be? Yeah, people say a lot of things every day that get them caught up in a certain frequency. They might just be. Somebody might just ask them, how's it going? Oh man,
long day, rough day, hard day.
Another day in another day, another dollar, just on some, a
Whatever.
vibration that's not fully serving self
Right.
or fully serving people around you.
Right.
Or just even bringing up certain things that don't have to necessarily be brought up. But it's a practice, and like you said, some people are not aware.
Yeah, you have to first understand what's going on before you can correct it. Like, you have to realize this is what's happening. This is the problem before you can stop it. So I feel like a lot of people won't realize it. They won't understand it. Some of them too stubborn or stuck in their ways. They're too comfortable. They don't want to change. They're lazy. They're okay with the way that they're living. So they don't want to. It's like, how you go when you stand on a corner and try to get people to come join Christ or whatever. It's like you just preach it to the sky. It's like whatever. At the end of the day, it's your decision. And the information is out there, or you're going to go get it. Go get the information. It's there. You can't say nobody told you because it's there. You have to want it.
And so, what are ways to tune in? That's what a lot of people ask. What are ways to access this secret, this power of the mind? And I say we always doing it.
Yeah.
We do. That's why they put advertisements in front of our face, because they know our mind is going to amplify that energy.
Right.
For their company, or,
For
just certain propagandas and slogans that they constantly repeat, and through the media, mass media. And but one way we could do it for ourselves personally, I feel, is to be still, be quiet, get in a quiet environment, or in an environment that's therapeutic, and just close your eyes and just visualize
and meditate.
See what you want to see.
Yeah, because vision is very important. Imagination is very important. It's very powerful.
And breathing deeply, because we're not conscious of our breath, because that's what spirit means. Spirit means breath.
Yeah.
And we don't usually breathe deeply because we in a stressful environment and we always on the go. So really getting that breath deep down into the lungs and to the bottom of the spine, and to pick up what they call the Kundalini.
Yeah.
And that Kundalini is like what it's a lot of New Age practitioners call
the serpent,
like a serpent energy.
Yeah. At
the bottom of your spine.
That you
sleep.
raised through a state of meditation.
Yeah. Definitely. And I feel like I felt it before. I remember one of my teachers gave me some real hot food, and one of my Rasta brethren, and I just started breathing real hot, like and just breathe. I couldn't stop breathing deep, and I just felt this fire just rising like a snake. That's what it felt like a coil. I was like, man, you know what I mean? Don't hit me with that again. You know what I mean? Because it was
it's
deep.
Like fire shut up in your bones.
Yeah, it felt like it was vibrating. It was energetic. It was something to remember, because it's some real science to it as far as the whole Kundalini. I ain't studied too much about it. I read here and there about it, but when you breathe deeply, you do feel an activation, and also, like you said, with your words, just speaking your truth into existence, speaking your desires into existence. And when I say desires, I don't mean like vain desires.
Yeah, like
I don't mean like low desires or things you want just because you want to be entertained. I mean real issues, real thoughts that could serve the community and people around you. And a lot of some people also delve into plant medicines. The
herbal care.
Yeah, like some of these plant medicines that what they call entheogens that might raise your vibration or take you to different dimensions, ancestral realms.
Like a mushroom.
Like a mushroom, or I'm not familiar with them. Ayahuasca.
Yeah, I've
is
heard
one
of that. Ayahuasca, plant-based medicine.
Peyote. I heard a lot about peyote back in my day. Just
Yeah.
even just reading Indian myths.
Yeah, I've heard things a little bit about the ayahuasca and how addicts have taken it before. It's like a retreat in Peru, and some that take it never go back to doing drugs again. Like they changed their whole life. So it is a powerful drug. I've even read to where they were trying to market it for addicts and people who have problems with depression and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's deep. I know that ayahuasca is known for curing alcoholics
Mm-hmm.
and people with addictions. Yeah, and even if you don't have an addiction, you know, a lot of indigenous, native peoples and medicine men, and just even people in the United States and around the world for recreation, they use these different plant medicines and fungi, you know, just for recreational use and to tap into themselves.
Marijuana, but
Marijuana is a form of it, I believe, yeah. It's just like...
I just feel like it's not pure here in the States because of a lot of things that they feed it. And overseas, like in Asia, maybe it's more pure. And you probably could get a better experience from something as pure as that. Because this is all THC, you know.
Yeah.
And THC is poison. You know, that's not really good for you. And,
Okay. THC?
Yeah, the THC is poison.
I think, from what I know, THC is the chemical.
Yeah, it's the chemical.
It's natural. It's natural.
But they said it's the poison. That it's the cannabis, the CBD oil that is really good for you. But the THC is not.
Okay. I see.
And a lot of marijuana in the U.S. is THC, like 90% THC and probably 1%, percent CBD, and that's, you're not getting any medicinal use from that.
Okay. I know THC is it's the narcotic part of the plant.
They get you high.
Yeah.
And it's you really have no medicinal use for it,
Okay.
For
I see what you're
THC,
saying. It's on. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But I would consider it a
medicinal
poison.
I mean, it is poison to a certain extent because it's activating certain cells in you that's harmful to you, that are not good for you, especially in men. It activates. I heard that it activates a certain, like prostate cancer or something like it enhances something like that.
Okay.
And it's not good for you at all.
I'm gonna have to look more into that.
So it's the CBD that's good for you. That's healing. That heals anybody. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we need to look into. Okay. So it's like a smoke screen. It's like they want to capitalize off marijuana, and we think that it's good for you, but it's really not good for you. Mm-hmm. It's not good for us. And they said that it is more addictive than anything now. And it's almost like people who's trying to get off of it, or more suicidal.
Okay, I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, because I've always suspected that the trees that's being grown now and distributed now ain't nothing like the natural, product.
Right.
It's
being sprayed and fed so much parasites and stuff that's not good for us that you're taking in. It's just not good. So.
But yeah.
So what about the plant-based diet?
Oh yeah, that's
you've been a vegan for 15 years now.
Oh, not that long,
but
at close,
almost
though.
What, 12?
It'll be 12 later this year.
Okay, so
yeah. Yeah, it go by quick. It go by like a baby. But yeah, I started when I was 20, and I always knew I was gonna be vegetarian. It's just when I was young, I was always the type to eat granola and nuts and stuff like that. So I just knew when I got older, I was gonna eventually go into that, and I did when I got the right information. And I went into it with the idea of thinking, if there's food that can hurt you and give you disease, then there's food that can heal you and give you powers, superpowers. Why not?
Right.
And I kind of said it, or was thinking it jokingly, but it started to kind of get like that on a certain level. First thing I realized was that, going plant-based was that my stomach kind of shrunk. It felt like it because I don't eat as much, or I can only eat once a day. Even if I wanted to eat more, I can't eat more. But I also realized, the rise in energy and thought and just the psyche,
right.
the power of the psyche, and how you can connect with
a higher way of thinking when you're clear.
Yeah, just seeing things for what they are and not what they appear to be. It becomes easier, much easier. Right. And just being.
And I don't think it's more or less, trying to shame people for eating meat or whatever.
I used to love meat.
I'm on the verge of starting the pescatarian because I do want to be lighter and live a healthier life, because I feel like a lot of things that we're intaking now, it's just not good for the human body. And it's more of what are they putting in this meat or whatever you buying versus it's not good for you. It's not that it's not good for you. It's like what is being put into it that's not good for you.
Yeah, because if I raise my own farm, with my own animals, I might still be yamming up some wings.
Exactly. If you knew what actually was going into the meat, like it's nothing. I don't feel like it's nothing wrong with that if you raised your own cattle versus, this. Because I've seen videos and things that is disgusting. And it's like, what is that? Like, really?
Yeah, I know. I mean, unnecessary practices.
It's just like, no, bro.
Y'all wouldn't eat this.
I used to think.
And that's what I heard. A lot of them meat factory employees, they don't even eat meat.
Yeah.
They get turned off.
Yeah, because I used to think to myself, how many cows, chickens, and pigs are they killing every day to feed so many people? I used to think like that. So I'm like, it's 8 million people on this planet. Like, you got to kill 8 million. It's not that many animals on this planet. So what are we really eating? What are we really eating?
Dum, dum, dum.
So yeah, I don't mean to scare you.
So that reminds me of that book. What was it called? Green. Oh, it's at the tip of my brain. Yeah, it's gonna come to me. But it's a book about these people who were eating like a foreign substance, and they realized that it was humans at the end of the book.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I've read on a website that said in a certain state that they wasn't going to be allowing aborted fetuses to be added and manufactured to their food in the year 2018. So I was like, why would you make a statement, issue a statement saying you will no longer be allowing aborted fetuses to be manufactured in your food products? So I'm like, you mean to tell me that they're giving us ground babies instead of ground cow?
I mean, I've honestly, I went to culinary school as soon as the same day that I started being a vegan, I started culinary school. It was funny. And, not vegan, but plant-based. I don't really like that vegan word. Not that I don't like it, but I don't want to be labeled as no vegan. I'm just human.
Right.
I eat plants.
You want to be smart. You're a smart eater, right?
But
you eat to live.
I eat to live. Yeah, but the same day that I started college, I started being plant-based, and I've seen so much. That's why I wouldn't doubt it. You know what I mean? As far as things that's being put in the food, I've seen incredible stories of just ill practices, stuff that'll make you say, wow, what do we really know? Right. But it's like the food is a major part of any religion, if you really look at it.
Right.
They start that off with the not tree of knowledge of good and evil, with
Right.
Adam and Eve, you
Right.
know. It's, what you consume, what you put in
You
your
are
mouth,
what you
in your
eat.
ears, and
You
your
are
eyes.
what you eat.
Yeah.
And you want to eat living foods, you know.
Yeah.
Not just organic, because you can slap a sticker on it and say organic. Here you go, organic.
Exactly.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's organic. You want to actually do the research on where you're getting your food products from.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. And it's not as expensive as you think. You can grow your own food on your balcony in your house. Like,
And that's what I'm on.
so it's, you know, if you want to do it, if you can, it's not a limit. I don't see no limitations here.
Because food is information.
It's information.
It's light, and information
light.
is light.
Yeah.
And we are light. We are made of light. You know what I mean?
We're light beings, and it's funny that you say that, because when you talk about the age of Aquarius, the age of knowledge, the age of illumination, the age of light, and all of those different things, we're going into a new age, you know, the age of Aquarius, that's full of all of that. So I see a lot of people going towards plant-based. I see that. I've been seeing it for the last 3 years. This vegan or this pescatarian or whatever you want to call it, this healthier lifestyle has been, you know, paraded around.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And even, you know, some people who ride the bandwagon who not fully with it, they still at least
Trying to get with the movement, you know.
Yeah, at least they put thought into what they.
Like, this is the wave. Yeah. I'm happy that it's a wave. Right. You know, it's a wave. Like people, like even in our culture, we're embracing our natural beauty, and I love it. And I see where people say, "Oh, it's a trend now. It shouldn't be a trend, or whatever." Who cares? You know, we're loving each other. We love ourselves. Let it trend. You know.
I mean, I don't see how a trend.
If it's a good thing,
if something's natural, how's it a trend? It's been there since. That's how it started. That's the
right.
origin.
It's always been there, but now we're embracing it, and I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it, and then I don't think it's hatred towards anyone else to love yourself or to love your reflection. You know, that's the way of life. Yeah. That's the art of life. You're supposed to love your kind. A zebra's supposed to love a zebra, not an elephant. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. And if the elephant chooses to be with a zebra, I'm pretty sure the coach would be like, okay, but hey, more power to them. You know, we have some zebra elephants running around here. But it is what it is. You're supposed to be okay with loving yourself. You shouldn't be judged for loving yourself.
And that's interesting. You brought up the hair because, right around the time I went plant-based, I started growing my hair, and it wasn't for stylish reasons. It was more because I was coming into knowledge of self, and I realized that the hair is like an antenna. You know, It really does connect you. It's there for a reason. So I'm like, what is that reason? And I was like, yo, when you turn on the TV, your hair be sticking to the screen, so it must have electric properties.
If you pass by,
you know what I mean?
You know, if you used to have an antenna, oh God, I remember passing by the TV one time and it was static, and when I put my hand and it stopped, and then I took my hand back and it started again. I was like, well, okay, I guess I keep my hand right here. And I was like, why is it doing that? Why wouldn't I put my hand on it? It stopped. So I feel like we're electrical beings. For sure.
Yeah, we have electric, magnetic properties.
We're all electricity.
Yeah, even this microphone say electro voice.
Yes,
you know? And that's a coin that me and my homeboy term. We whenever we just be on we see something that we was talking about, and then we see it happen later on. We call it electro. Right. It's like, yo, that's that electromagnetic energy right there. Whenever you manifest something, whenever we be just chopping it up about something, and then we see it happen like a few moments later, we like, yo, electro.
That's crazy.
You know, because I realized that your hair has electromagnetic properties, you know, and that's the basis for communication, you know. And I started growing my hair, you know, and I never seen myself with locks. You know,
right? Me either.
I never really I never thought to myself I wanted locks. It just happened one day,
right?
You know, under my revelation of, you know, under my study of life of, what was happening around me and the patterns, so.
Yeah, I started my locks, as you know, last year. So, but I've been relaxer free for about 4 years now. And where I'm from, they start relaxing your hair really young, and it's just like a way of life. Getting your relaxer, going to the beauty shop, getting your curls and your press, or whatever. When I came here, I started to embrace more of my natural self, and I love my locks. I love it. It fits me.
Yeah.
It fits me. I love it. So
yeah, we in Los Angeles, by the way, people. And where you tell them where you from?
I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm from the South, the boot. Shout out.
Yeah. And I'm from right here, Los Angeles, born and raised. They say it's less than 1% natives. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of people be moving out, or their family was originally from somewhere else. So, yeah. Yeah, we right here in LA with it. And a lot of things, a lot of principles that, like we said, a lot of principles that we see coming from religion, it's documented the fact that it originated in the Nile Valley, with the mystery schools and the masonry and, a lot of the,
even with the
universities.
The comparison to the 10 Commandments and the 40 laws,
the
or
42 laws.
Yeah, of
Ma'at.
Yeah, I was reading that.
Yeah.
The other day, and it's a lot of similarities.
Major.
It's a lot of scriptures taken from, the walls of the pyramid. So I see the plagiarism. I see, however you want to word it, I see it.
It tripped me out. I found this out the other month. Adam and Eve had a third child named Seth.
Yes.
And that's the name of the original Egyptian god.
Seth. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it all goes back. I mean, every prophet went to Kemet. If you went to Egypt, if you, think about it, Moses, Joseph, Jesus they hid him when he was a baby in Egypt. Jacob, Isaac.
It's a lot of contradicting things
Abraham.
in the Bible. It's a lot of contradicting things. And it's full of allegory, and it lets you know that it is full of allegory.
Yeah.
You know? So.
What I want to point out was that from Kemet, we get from the halls of Thoth what they call the universal laws.
Yes. The 7.
The 7 hermetic principles.
Yeah. And we're talking about one today.
That's what this. That's what this episode is focused on. The first law, which is.
And we're going to be talking more and more about all the laws. So. Yeah. I'm really intrigued about that. Uh-huh. And it's just a way of life, And once you master these laws, you can, master your life and help others master their life as well. So. That's the point.
Right. Yeah. The first law being the universe is mental and the mind is all. Mm-hmm. And that's what we all working with. That's what we all got is our mind at the end of the day.
And creating your own reality. You are who you think you are. You are what you think or what you believe. That's what you become.
And for every action, there's a reaction, and I feel like that's...
In every action, there's a reaction. I don't care if it's small, big. If you do something, expect something to come back, whatever it is, good or bad.
Right. So that's why I loved what Nipsey Mom did, because what reaction can come from that but, beauty and glory from acknowledging your ancestors and pouring an element of life, water into the rose, into the plants, into the floral design that was right there.
And that's her form of expressing her piece.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything is wrong with that. I think people should take from that, do a little bit more studying instead of criticizing and judging and assuming or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that. I read a lot of comments about, You know, what is she doing? What is she talking about? She's just blabbering all over the place. Things like that, you know, because they just don't understand the language of what she's speaking in or where she's coming from.
Right, because we normally, the tradition is, or the doctrine is that, you know, God exists outside of you.
Right.
You know, it's a mystery God, what some of the, you know, my brethren might call it. You know, it's a mystery God, in which is, you know, it's outside of you, it's in the sky. And, you know what? It's funny because Akashic Records means the sky, space, ether. So some of y'all might be on the New Age movement and don't even know it.
Right.
You know, because I mean, that's what the whole premise is, that it's outside of you. And really the scripture, a lot of scriptures say that, you know, it's closer than your breath. It's closer than your clavicle or your, I forgot that, your jugular vein.
Yeah.
You know, God is closer than your jugular vein.
Yeah.
And so
it's in you. You are God.
There's so many ways that they try to put it to you.
Yeah. I mean, I've read things in the Bible where Jesus was like, you know, greater, what did he say? Greater.
You shall do greater works than me.
Yeah. And things like that. Or
yeah, and don't follow me.
Yeah, follow your own way. Or he said a lot, you know, that you can do more than I can, and you can do better than me. I do this, and you can do more. Yeah. Like you're more powerful than me. Like
yeah, it feels like he was somebody that was enlightened. He was someone that was enlightened and trying to spark everyone's else.
Or trying to remind them of who they really are.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like he was an example of what a human being is.
Right.
You know, that's what he is. You know, I am the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in one. You know, and I'm here on this earth showing you that you are the same. And I think he was killed because of that very reason, trying to wake the people up and show them this is who you really are. I'm an example of who you really are.
Yeah, because, you know, they say you can't worship two masters.
No.
You know what I mean? And he, you know, if you worshiping money,
you are your own master.
Then somebody who's enlightened is stopping the money flow.
Exactly.
You know, he said that, you know, the church has been turned into a business.
Exactly, because that's what they're doing now. The church is a business. Most churches are not churches anymore. They're what is it? I'm going to say it, motivational speakers. They're motivational speakers now. You know, they're motivational centers. You know, that's
motivational centers.
That's the New Age movement. Motivational centers. It's not a church anymore. It's a motivational center. You know.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. You know, they're motivating.
I mean, I've heard of ATMs being inside churches.
Oh, that's the mega churches, they got the pastors themselves have jets and, you know, it's a business.
That's what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, I know business when I see business being conducted. I mean,
it is what it is.
You know, not to knock anybody
but people need to understand that it is a business.
Yeah.
And understand that. And it's thousands, millions of more church businesses everywhere.
Right.
You know? And I've read in the Bible where it says he don't dwell in temples made with man hands.
That's the scripture that's made me stop going to church. When somebody showed me that, I said, "Oh, that's simple for a baby to see."
I mean, come on.
It makes so much sense.
I'm not there, sweetie. So stop giving your money to them. You can give your money or your tithes, your 10% to whomever you desire. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to go to that business.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, Jesus and his disciples,
and
he
this
gave
is
it
not
to the people on the street.
You know, talk against Christianity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Giving
it's not to
tithes
put
and
down
office.
It's
not. I'm just saying it's okay to live another way. It's okay to
acknowledge your ancestors. Yeah. Acknowledge the old way, or you know, the way that
always been there.
That is, yeah. You know, the nature.
And if
is what it is.
If you don't feel fulfilled in whatever religion you're in, I encourage you to seek your destination. You know, seek where you're supposed to be. Don't be afraid to find it, to look for it. You know, that's what I did. I encourage. I gotta find it.
I encourage people not to put any labels on themselves.
Exactly.
That's one thing. That was one of the
Just
early lessons I learned.
Experiment,
You know, putting a
No
label on
labels.
myself was like the first door, walking through the first door. But then eventually you learn that, you know, it's infinite. Knowledge is infinite. And this life is infinite. Energy is infinite. You know, and
Right.
to put a label on yourself is degrading the true essence
of who you
what
really
we
are. Your divinity.
I started
Your
off the
destiny.
Israelite. I started off.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I was like, you went through me too. When I first got here, I was like, oh, we're Hebrew Israelites and all that. I was like, oh my God.
You know.
And I was like, nah, nope.
I mean, once I learned what where the virgin
What it
birth
really
story
is,
came
yeah.
from, and you know how the virgin birth story is actually a very ancient story that was spread all across the world. You know, you got a Mexican virgin birth story with Quetzalcoatl. You got Krishna, Buddha, all were born from virgin mothers, and that's with 12 disciples and all that. So,
and their mother's name began with M's, all of them.
Yeah, Maya,
That's
Mary,
weird.
and it's all speaking on the solar system and
the constellation, the zodiac.
Yeah, so once I realized that, I said, you know, why would I follow a modern version of an ancient thing?
And the Bible itself translates to the sun records or the sun book. Or
the sun book.
The sun something, you know. It's basically the same thing. It's all zodiac in astrology, astronomy, and cosmology. That's really what it is.
I think one thing that's stopping a lot of people from, you know, reaching their best version is the sexual the sexual perversion of the culture that we in. You know, the images that's put in front of us early, the music. You know, it confuses our understanding of sexuality and what that really means.
And that's a very strong energy and power.
Oh, that's the power of creation. That's God.
That's the most powerful creation.
Ask me.
Yeah, it has to be used wisely.
So, very conscious.
That's something we're going to have to further detail on the next show.
Definitely.
So we got to dive in that.
Yeah, the next show we speaking up on sexuality, and because in indigenous cultures they don't view the body as something to be entertained or as something
pleased by,
pleasurable, or you know what I mean, like they don't see it how we see it. You know, they look at
certain vibrations that they use sex for. So we should definitely get into the law of vibration.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And one beautiful thing about the power of the mind is healing yourself with the mind.
Right.
You know, like you know, you heard of placebos where doctors will give people sugar pills. Mm-hmm. People take it thinking it's a real medicine, and they end up actually healing themselves. Yeah. You know, and you know, just visualizing parts of your body that's aching or in pain and dis-ease, and actually visualizing it being repaired. And
right.
It's deep. The power of the mind. We gonna definitely grow.
It's a rabbit hole.
That's what HOODHARTHA's about. Yeah. You know, tapping in and expressing yourself in all kind of infinite ways. Because even though we in areas that are disenfranchised, we still have a lot of information available to us, and we still have options. Right. You know what I mean? If we can just look deeper. Yeah, we still got our mind. It ain't illegal to think yet.
The mind is a terrible thing to waste. But, that's a real quote. That's a true
That's a true quote. The mind is a terrible thing to waste.
It's a terrible thing to waste.
That's why I love the movie The Matrix, when he was just hacking into different lessons and he just kept learning how to fight pain, how to do. That's what we essentially are in. We in the information age where you can learn anything. You don't have an excuse. Everybody got a phone. Everybody got the Googles and the YouTubes. So, you know what I mean? Check with us next time.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Yes.
And we'll do ours. And
Peace
family.
And love and light. Until next time.
One love.